Family is everything, Dad. We protect what's ours, my son-in-law Marcus said while helping my pregnant daughter Rebecca to her chair at dinner. I was so proud. Harvard MBA successful investment advisor, the perfect gentleman who treated my daughter like a queen. I thought I'd chosen well when I welcomed him into our family 3 years ago. But when Rebecca collapsed that night and was rushed to the hospital, the doctors found something that shattered everything I believed. The anxiety medication Marcus had been giving her contained levels that could kill a pregnant woman. I was just a trusting father-in-law who thought family meant protection. But Marcus never expected that I had friends in law enforcement, friends who recognized his face from old murder cases. What happened next would either save my family or destroy us all because the man I called son had already done this before. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you're listening in the comments. I sit at the head of my mahogany dining table, watching with quiet satisfaction as Marcus helps my pregnant daughter, Rebecca, settle into her chair. At 68, I've learned to appreciate these simple moments of family harmony. The candlelight catches the gentle way he adjusts her cushion, ensures her water glass is full, asks if she needs anything else. 7 months pregnant and glowing despite her recent fatigue, Rebecca smiles up at her husband with the kind of trust that makes a father's heart swell with pride. Dad, you outdid yourself tonight, Marcus says, gesturing toward the spread I've prepared. Rebecca's favorite pot, roast mashed potatoes, green bean casserole. This smells incredible. I've always been impressed by Marcus Sterling's manners. Harvard MBA successful investment advisor, and most importantly, he treats my daughter like a queen. When Rebecca first brought him home 3 years ago, I'll admit I was skeptical. At 35, he seemed too polished, too smooth-talking for my taste. But watching him now, seeing how he anticipates her every need, I realize how wrong my initial impression was. Marcus has some exciting news about the business. Rebecca says, though, I notice she seems more tired than usual. Dark circles under her eyes, and she's lost weight despite the pregnancy. When I mention this to Marcus, he always reassures me it's normal anxiety about becoming a first-time mother. Actually, Dad, I've been thinking about our conversation last week. Marcus begins cutting his meat with precise movements. With the baby coming, we should really discuss updating your estate planning. Tax advantages, trust, structures, making sure Rebecca and the child are fully protected. The way he says fully protected strikes me as oddly intense, but I push the thought aside. He's thinking about his family's future, exactly what a good husband should do. I've already spoken with my attorney about some preliminary changes, I tell him. The business, the house, most of the investments. I want everything structured to benefit Rebecca and the baby. Marcus nods approvingly, but I catch something in his eyes, a flash of calculation that disappears so quickly. I wonder if I imagined it. That's very wise, he says. Family security is everything. Speaking of which, honey, you should take your evening medication. Rebecca reaches for her purse, but Marcus is already pulling a pill bottle from his jacket pocket. I brought them for you, he says, shaking 2 white tablets into his palm. Dr. Hoffman said it's important to stay on schedule. I watch as he fills her water glass, hands her the pills, and monitors her as she swallows them. There's something almost clinical about his attention to detail. The way he checks his watch notes the exact time ensures she's taken both tablets. These help with the anxiety. Rebecca explains, though her voice sounds slightly slurred. The pregnancy has made me so nervous about everything. Perfectly normal, Marcus assures us both. First-time mothers often experience heightened anxiety. The medication helps keep her calm, which is better for the baby. As we continue dinner, I notice Marcus steering every conversation back to business. Matters inheritance planning, legal documents. He knows more about my company's financial structure than I realized. Profit margins, client contracts, asset valuations. When did I share all that information with him? Rebecca excuses herself to use the bathroom, moving slowly, gripping furniture for support. The baby's getting heavy? She laughs, but I'm concerned by how unsteady she seems. She's been having these dizzy spells, Marcus explains quietly. Dr. Hoffman says it's related to her blood pressure. Nothing serious, but we're monitoring it closely. When Rebecca returns, she looks even paler. Halfway through dessert, she suddenly grips the table edge, her knuckles white. I feel strange, she whispers. Marcus immediately reaches into his pocket, producing another pill bottle with practiced efficiency. Emergency medication, he explains to me while shaking a tablet into his palm. For breakthrough anxiety episodes. He fills her water glass, guides the pill to her lips, and watches with intense focus as she swallows it. The entire sequence feels rehearsed like a performance he's given many times before. Better, he asks, his hand on her shoulder. Rebecca nods weakly, but something in her eyes looks confused, almost frightened. As Marcus helps her to the couch, I remain at the table, staring at the empty pill bottle he's left behind. Something about this entire evening feels wrong, but I can't put my finger on exactly what. The phone's shrill ring shatters my sleep at 3:17 a.m. In that disorienting moment between unconsciousness and panic, I know something terrible has happened. No one calls at this hour with good news. Dad, Rebecca collapsed. Marcus's voice cuts through the darkness, breathless and frantic. We're at Mass General. She fell in the bathroom and wouldn't wake up. The paramedics said her blood pressure was dangerously low. My feet hit the cold hardwood floor before I'm fully awake. I'm on my way. The drive through empty Boston streets feels surreal. Traffic lights blinking yellow, the city sleeping peacefully while my world tilts toward catastrophe. I keep thinking about dinner just hours ago, how pale Rebecca looked, how unsteady she seemed walking to the bathroom. The image of Marcus producing that emergency medication with such practiced efficiency replays in my mind like a broken record. Mass General's emergency department buzzes with controlled chaos, even at this ungodly hour. Ambulances idle outside their red lights, painting the hospital walls in urgent strokes. I find Marcus in the waiting room, pacing like a caged animal, his usually perfect hair disheveled, his expensive shirt wrinkled. Thank God you're here, he says, gripping my shoulders. They won't tell me anything definitive. Something about running tests monitoring the baby. A woman in scrubs approaches us, Dr. Sarah Chen, according to her badge. Mid-40s, competent demeanor, the kind of physician who's seen everything and survived to tell about it. Mr. Caldwell, I'm treating your daughter. She's stable now, but we're concerned about several factors. Severe dehydration, dangerously low blood pressure, and some neurological symptoms that prompted us to run a comprehensive toxicology screen. Toxicology, Marcus interjects. Dr. Rebecca doesn't use drugs. She's been very careful during the pregnancy. Dr. Chen's expression remains professionally neutral, but I catch something in her eyes, a flicker of concern that goes beyond routine medical caution. The blood work shows significant levels of benzodiazepines, specifically lorazepam and clonazepam. The concentrations are approximately 3 times the therapeutic dose. My stomach drops. What does that mean? It means your daughter has been taking far more anxiety medication than any responsible physician would prescribe. For a pregnant woman, these levels could cause exactly the symptoms she experienced tonight. Confusion, dizziness, respiratory depression. Marcus steps forward, his voice taking on that smooth, explanatory tone I've heard him use in business meetings. Dr. Rebecca has been struggling with severe anxiety about the pregnancy. She's been seeing Dr. Hoffman for medication management. Perhaps she accidentally took too many pills. She's been so worried about being a good mother. Doctor? Chen makes notes on her tablet, but her expression suggests she's heard similar explanations before. Mr. Sterling, do you have contact information for Dr. Hoffman? We'll need to coordinate with him about her medication regimen. Of course, though, he's probably not available at this hour. Rebecca has been taking the medication exactly as prescribed. She's very responsible about following medical instructions. Something about Marcus' immediate detailed response bothers me. He has answers for everything, explanations that sound reasonable but feel somehow rehearsed. Dr. Chen, I interrupt, is my daughter going to be okay? What about the baby? We're monitoring both closely. The fetal heartbeat is strong, which is encouraging. However, I need to be direct with you. Medication levels this high during pregnancy raise serious concerns. Hospital policy requires us to involve social services when we encounter potential medication abuse involving pregnant patients. Marcus's face goes rigid. Medication abuse, doctor, that's completely inappropriate. My wife is not abusing anything. She's following her psychiatrist's orders. I understand this is difficult, but it's protocol. Someone from our social services team will need to speak with Rebecca when she's conscious, and we're required to file a report with local authorities. The words hit me like physical blows. My daughter, my Rebecca, being investigated for drug abuse while carrying my grandchild. But even as anger rises in my throat, a small voice in my head whispers that something doesn't add up. Dr. Chen continues. The social worker mentioned that Detective Ray O'Sullivan specializes in cases involving domestic situations and medication concerns. He's worked with our hospital before. Ray O'Sullivan. The name triggers a memory. My old friend from the Construction Workers Union, back when we were both young men building Boston's skyline with our bare hands. Ray became a cop after a job site accident ended his construction career. I know Ray, I tell Dr. Chen. He's a good man. Could you ask him to handle this case personally? I'll make sure the request goes through proper channels. He should be able to meet with you Monday morning. As Dr. Chen walks away, Marcus grabs my arm. Dad, this is all a misunderstanding. Rebecca's been anxious, maybe she miscounted her pills a few times, but she's not some kind of drug addict. Getting police involved will only make things worse. I look at my son-in-law, this man I've trusted with my daughter's happiness, who I've welcomed into my family, who I've been preparing to inherit everything I've built. His eyes dart between me and the direction Dr. Chen disappeared, and for the first time in 3 years, I see something that looks like fear. Marcus, I say quietly, if Rebecca's been taking her medication exactly as prescribed, then we have nothing to worry about. Do we? He doesn't answer immediately, and in that pause, everything changes. Walking into Boston Police Headquarters on Monday morning feels like stepping back in time. The building hasn't changed much since I was here 20 years ago, delivering construction materials for a renovation project. Back then, I was just another hard-hat contractor, trying to make an honest living. Today, I'm a desperate father seeking help for his daughter. Detective Ray O'Sullivan's office sits on the 3rd floor, down a corridor, lined with commendation plaques and departmental photos. When he opens the door, I'm struck by how much we've both aged. Ray's hair has gone completely gray, and deep lines around his eyes speak of decades spent witnessing humanity's darker impulses. But his handshake is still firm, his smile still genuine. Harrison Caldwell, he says, gesturing me into his office. Christ, it's been, 20 years? I'm sorry we're meeting under these circumstances. His office walls display family photos, commendations, and case files, stacked with military precision. I notice one photograph turned face down on his desk, but don't comment on it. Ray's always been private about personal matters. I appreciate you taking this case personally, Ray. Rebecca means everything to me. Hospital social worker filled me in on the basics, Ray says, settling behind his desk with a legal pad. Medication levels 3 times therapeutic dose. Pregnant woman concerned family. I specialize in domestic situations like this. Unfortunately, they're more common than people realize. He begins with standard questions. Timeline of Rebecca's marriage, financial arrangements, social isolation patterns. I find myself defending Marcus, initially describing his charm, his business success, his apparent devotion to Rebecca. Harrison, I need to ask some difficult questions, Ray says, his voice taking on a professional tone. I remember from our union days when he mediated disputes. Does Marcus control Rebecca's medical care, her finances, her social contacts? As I answer, a disturbing pattern emerges. Marcus does handle all of Rebecca's medical appointments. He manages their joint accounts. He's gradually isolated her from college friends, claiming they're bad influences during pregnancy. When laid out systematically, the behavior looks far more sinister than loving concern. These are classic indicators of domestic abuse, Ray explains. The medication angle is particularly concerning. We've seen cases where abusers use prescription drugs to maintain control, making victims dependent and compliant. Ray pulls a file from his desk drawer, flips through several pages, then stops. His face goes pale as he stares at a photograph inside the folder. Jesus Christ, he whispers. What is it? Ray lifts the photograph, a professional headshot of Marcus in a business suit. Harrison, where did you say your son-in-law works? Sterling Investment Advisory. Why, Ray, you're scaring me. Ray's hands tremble slightly as he reaches for the face-down photo on his desk. When he turns it over, I see a beautiful young woman with Ray's eyes and his stubborn chin. This is my daughter, Jennifer, he says, his voice barely above a whisper. She died 8 years ago. They said it was an overdose of anxiety medication. Just like Rebecca. The room tilts sideways. Ray, what are you saying? Jennifer married a man who looked exactly like your son-in-law. Same face, same build, same charming personality. He isolated her from family, controlled her medication, made her dependent on him financially and emotionally. Ray's voice cracks with old grief and fresh rage. She was found dead in their apartment 3 months after I tried to intervene. Overdose of lorazepam and clonazepam, the same drugs in Rebecca's system. My mouth goes dry. That's impossible. Marcus has been with Rebecca for 3 years. You said this happened 8 years ago. I know what I'm looking at, Harrison. Either your son-in-law has an identical twin, or the man who killed my daughter is now married to yours. Ray opens another file, revealing background check documents. I ran a preliminary search on Marcus Sterling this morning. The identity was created 10 years ago. Birth certificate, social security number, education records, all fabricated. The real Marcus Sterling died in a car accident in California, and someone stole his identity. The implications crash over me like a tsunami. You're telling me my daughter married a murderer who doesn't even exist. I'm telling you that your daughter is in immediate danger, and we need to move fast. Ray reaches for his phone. This crosses state lines. Identity theft is a federal crime. I'm calling the FBI Financial Crimes Unit. Agent Lisa Rodriguez has worked these cases before. Ray, how long will a federal investigation take? Rebecca's 8 months pregnant. If this man killed your daughter... Federal background checks take 2 to 3 weeks, minimum, Ray admits. But Harrison, I promise you this. We're going to stop him. I couldn't save Jennifer, but I'll be damned if I let him kill another daughter. Ray stands up, his cop instincts fully engaged. I need you to act normal around Marcus. Don't let him know we're investigating. Can you do that? I'll do whatever it takes to protect Rebecca. Good. Because if this is the same man who killed Jennifer, he's not just a murderer. He's a serial killer who uses marriage as his weapon. And serial killers don't stop until someone stops them. As I leave Ray's office, my legs feel unsteady. The man I've welcomed into my family, the man I've been planning to leave my fortune to, may have already killed at least one woman using the exact same method he's using on Rebecca. But now he has Ray O'Sullivan hunting him, and Ray has 20 years of police experience, federal connections, and a father's need for justice driving him forward. For the first time since Rebecca collapsed, I feel something that might be hope. The FBI Boston field office feels like stepping into a different universe from Ray's cluttered police station. Everything here is pristine, high-tech, intimidating in its federal efficiency. Agent Lisa Rodriguez leads Ray and me into a conference room where multiple screens display crime scene photos, financial records, and surveillance images that make my stomach turn. Mr. Caldwell, thank you for coming in. Agent Rodriguez says, arranging files with military precision. What I'm about to show you will be difficult to process, but you need to understand exactly who has access to your daughter. She clicks a remote, and the main screen fills with a professional headshot that looks exactly like Marcus. Same face, same confident smile, same calculating eyes. The man who married your daughter is not Marcus Sterling, she begins. His real name is Michael Anthony Torrino, age 37, convicted fraudster, with a pattern spanning 15 years in multiple states. The room tilts sideways. I grip the conference table edge the same way Rebecca gripped our dinner table just days ago. That's impossible. Marcus has been with Rebecca for 3 years. He has a Harvard MBA, a successful business. All fabricated. Agent Rodriguez interrupts, clicking to the next screen. The real Marcus Sterling died in a car accident in Sacramento 10 years ago. Torrino stole his identity, created false education records, and has been using this persona to target wealthy families. Ray leans forward, his cop instincts fully engaged. Show him the pattern, Lisa. The screen displays a timeline with photographs of 3 young women, all beautiful, all from affluent families, all dead. Jennifer O'Sullivan, 2016, apparent suicide by medication overdose. Ray's daughter smiles from the screen, and I see him flinch. Amanda Whitmore, 2019, apparent suicide, same method. Husband inherited $800,000 life insurance policy. Sarah Chen, 2021, apparent suicide, same method. Husband inherited family restaurant chain worth $2.2 million. Each time Torrino used the same approach. Charm isolation, medication dependency, then staged suicide when he was ready to move on to the next target. Agent Rodriguez pulls up financial documents that make my blood run cold. Mr. Caldwell, we've also discovered systematic theft from your business. Over the past 18 months, Torrino has sold Caldwell construction client lists to competitors through shell companies. Total theft, $2.3 million. The betrayal cuts deeper than I thought possible. He's been destroying my life's work while planning to kill my daughter. It's worse than that, Agent Rodriguez continues. Torrino has been using Rebecca's access to your business systems to steal proprietary information, bid details, client contacts. He's not just planning to inherit your wealth. He's been systematically destroying your company's competitive position. Ray studies the financial forensics with professional interest. This shows premeditation going back almost 2 years. He's been planning this for a long time. Which brings us to the immediate threat. Agent Rodriguez says, her voice taking on an urgent tone. Dr. Amanda Walsh, our behavioral profiler, has analyzed Torrino's pattern. He fits the classification of a family annihilator. When these subjects face exposure, they typically kill everyone who could testify against them. A new screen appears showing psychological profiles, case studies, statistical analyses that read like a death sentence. Based on similar cases and Torrino's escalating pattern, Dr. Walsh estimates you have 48 to 72 hours maximum before he either flees the jurisdiction or commits multiple homicides. The words hit me like physical blows. You're telling me my daughter and grandchild are going to die within 3 days. Not if we stop him first, Ray says grimly. Lisa, what's our tactical approach? Agent Rodriguez opens another file. We're preparing federal warrants for arrest on identity theft, wire fraud, and conspiracy charges. However, Torrino is intelligent and has demonstrated counter-surveillance awareness. If he realizes we're closing in, he may accelerate his timeline. Meaning, what exactly? Meaning he could kill Rebecca and stage her suicide within hours of discovering our investigation. The conference room falls silent, except for the hum of computers processing data that could save or condemn my family. I stare at the photographs of Torrino's previous victims, young women who trusted him, loved him, never suspected that their husband was a predator who saw them as nothing more than financial opportunities. Agent Rodriguez, I say, my voice steadier than I feel, what do you need from me? We need you to act completely normal around Torrino. Don't change your behavior. Don't ask unusual questions. Don't give him any indication that we're investigating. Can you do that? I think about Marcus Michael sitting at my dinner table discussing estate planning while secretly planning my daughter's murder. I think about him controlling Rebecca's medication, isolating her from friends, systematically poisoning her, while pretending to be a loving husband. I'll do whatever it takes to protect my family. Good. Because, Mr. Caldwell, I need you to understand something clearly. Agent Rodriguez leans forward, her expression deadly serious. Your son-in-law isn't just a murderer. He's a serial killer who has perfected his method over 15 years. He's killed at least 3 women that we know of, possibly more. Ray adds quietly, and Rebecca is 8 months pregnant, which means he's planning to kill your grandchild too. The full horror of our situation crystallizes with perfect, terrible clarity. The man I've welcomed into my family, trusted with my business, prepared to inherit my life's work, is a monster who has already murdered multiple women and is now preparing to kill my daughter, an unborn grandchild, for money. But he made one crucial mistake. He chose to target the daughter of a man who has friends in law enforcement, and now the full weight of federal investigation is focused on stopping him. The question is whether we can move fast enough to save Rebecca and the baby before Torrino realizes his perfect plan is falling apart. Sitting in my office wearing an FBI wire feels surreal, like playing a role in some twisted crime drama where my daughter's life hangs in the balance. The tiny recording device taped to my chest itches against my skin, a constant reminder that every word I speak today could determine whether Rebecca and my grandchild live or die. Agent Rodriguez's voice crackles through my nearly invisible earpiece. Remember, Mr. Caldwell, act completely natural. If Torrino suspects surveillance, he'll run or accelerate his timeline. Through my office windows, I can see unmarked federal vehicles positioned throughout the Caldwell construction parking lot. Undercover agents pose as construction workers, delivery drivers, even a woman walking her dog past our building. The level of coordination is both reassuring and terrifying. This much firepower means the FBI considers Torrino extremely dangerous. My hands shake as I review construction contracts, trying to maintain the appearance of normal business operations. Every sound in the hallway makes me tense, wondering if this will be the moment Michael Torrino walks through my door for what might be our final conversation. At 10:47 a.m., my secretary's voice comes through the intercom. Mr. Caldwell, Marcus is here to see you. My blood turns to ice water. Send him in. Torrino enters with his usual confident stride, but something feels different. His eyes dart around the office more than usual, and I notice a slight tension in his shoulders. He's wearing a dark suit that looks expensive enough to be his funeral attire. Dad, I wanted to discuss the estate planning documents we talked about, he says, settling into the chair across from my desk. His voice carries that smooth, manipulative tone I now recognize as the sound of a predator managing his prey. Of course, I manage to say, hoping the FBI equipment is picking up every word. How is Rebecca feeling today? Much better. The doctors say her medication levels are stabilizing. The lie rolls off his tongue with practiced ease. Actually, that's part of what I wanted to discuss. With the baby coming soon, we should accelerate the legal arrangements. Agent Rodriguez's voice whispers in my ear. Keep him talking. We need him to reveal his timeline. What kind of acceleration? I ask, fighting to keep my voice steady. Torrino leans forward, his eyes taking on that calculating gleam I've learned to fear. Well, Dad, family is everything. We protect what's ours, don't we? Sometimes that means making difficult decisions before circumstances force our hand. The words sound like a threat, wrapped in family sentiment. I realize he's telling me he's planning to kill Rebecca, soon, possibly today. Marcus, is there something specific you're worried about? His smile doesn't reach his eyes. Just the natural concerns any husband has about protecting his wife and child. You understand. You'd do anything to protect Rebecca, wouldn't you? Anything I say, and I mean it. Good. Because, Dad, I need you to know that whatever happens in the coming days, everything I've done has been for family. For Rebecca's future, for the baby's security, for your legacy. Agent Rodriguez's voice in my ear becomes urgent. He's saying goodbye. This sounds like a farewell speech. Torrino stands up, straightening his jacket with movements that seem oddly final. I should get back to Rebecca. She needs me right now. As he reaches the door, he turns back with a smile that chills my soul. Oh, and Dad, if anyone asks about our conversation today, remember that family loyalty is everything. We protect each other no matter what. After he leaves, I sit frozen until Agent Rodriguez's voice brings me back to reality. Excellent work, Mr. Caldwell. We recorded everything. That sounded like a confession and a threat. But my relief is short-lived. 20 minutes later, Agent Rodriguez bursts into my office, her face grim. We have a problem. Torrino just accessed police communications through a hacked frequency scanner. He knows about our investigation. My stomach drops. What does that mean? It means he's accelerating his timeline. Our surveillance team reports he picked up Rebecca from the hospital an hour ago, claiming there was a family emergency, and they needed to go somewhere safe. Where did he take her? Agent Rodriguez checks her tablet, her expression growing more concerned. GPS tracking shows his vehicle heading north on I-93 toward New Hampshire. He told Rebecca that the FBI made a mistake about you, that you're under investigation for business fraud, and he's taking her somewhere safe until it's resolved. The full horror of the situation hits me. He's isolating her, just like he did with your other victims. Mr. Caldwell, I need to be direct with you. Based on the GPS coordinates, Torrino is heading toward remote wilderness areas, locations where he could stage Rebecca's death and dispose of evidence without witnesses. My legs nearly give out. How long do we have? Our behavioral profiler estimates he'll want to complete his plan within the next 12 hours. He knows we're closing in, so he'll move fast. Agent Rodriguez speaks into her radio. All unit suspect is mobile with pregnant hostage. This is now a federal kidnapping. I repeat, federal kidnapping in progress. The words echo in my office like a death sentence. My daughter, my pregnant daughter carrying my grandchild, is now in the hands of a serial killer who has successfully murdered at least 3 women and is planning to make her victim number 4. But as federal agents mobilize around me, coordinating with state police and SWAT teams, I realize something important. Michael Torrino made a crucial mistake. He thought he was dealing with an isolated, vulnerable family. Instead, he's now facing the full resources of federal law enforcement led by a detective who has personal reasons to see him stopped. The hunt is on, and this time the predator has become the prey. FBI SWAT vehicles surround the remote cabin like predators closing in on wounded prey. Through binoculars, I peer at the single window, showing light, knowing that somewhere inside that weathered building, my pregnant daughter is trapped with a serial killer who has already murdered at least 3 women. The Tactical Command Center, a mobile communications unit that looks like something from a military operation, hums with controlled urgency. Agent Rodriguez coordinates with state police, federal marshals, and SWAT team leaders, while I stand helplessly nearby, feeling useless despite being the reason this entire operation exists. Thermal imaging shows 2 figures inside, reports SWAT Commander Jake Morrison, a granite-faced professional, who looks like he's handled hundreds of hostage situations. One appears to be seated or restrained, the other mobile throughout the structure. Ray O'Sullivan places a steady hand on my shoulder. That's Rebecca and Torrino. She's alive, Harrison. For now, I whisper, my voice barely audible over the radio chatter. Agent Rodriguez approaches with a professional negotiator, Dr. Patricia Wells, a woman whose calm demeanor suggests she's talked desperate people off ledges, more times than she cares to count. Mr. Caldwell, I'm going to attempt initial contact with Torrino, Dr. Wells explains. Our goal is to establish communication, assess Rebecca's condition, and buy time for tactical positioning. She keys her radio and speaks toward the cabin through powerful external speakers. Michael, this is Dr. Wells with the FBI. I know you're concerned about your family's safety. Let's talk about how we can resolve this peacefully. For several minutes, nothing. Then a man's voice echoes from inside the cabin, distorted by distance but clearly agitated. Stay back. This is between me and my family. That's not Torrino, Ray says grimly. That's panic. He's losing control. Suddenly a woman's scream pierces the night air. Not fear, but physical pain. Medical emergency. Rebecca! I breathe, starting toward the cabin before Commander Morrison's iron grip stops me. Sir, you cannot approach that building. We have snipers positioned, but any civilian movement compromises their sightlines. Agent Rodriguez speaks urgently into her radio. Medical team, stand by. We may have obstetric emergency in progress. Dr. Wells tries again. Michael, it sounds like Rebecca needs medical attention. Let our paramedics help her. We're not here to hurt anyone. Torrino's response chills my blood. She's fine. Just pregnancy complications. We don't need your help. But Rebecca's cries continue growing more frequent, more intense. Even from 100 yards away, I recognize the sounds of labor. My grandchild is trying to be born under the worst possible circumstances. She's in premature labor, confirms Dr. Sarah Martinez, the FBI's medical consultant. At 8 months, the baby could survive, but she needs immediate medical intervention. Commander Morrison coordinates with his team leaders. Alpha team maintain perimeter. Bravo team prepare for rapid entry if medical situation deteriorates. Charlie team cover all exit points. The tactical precision is impressive, but I can't shake the feeling that we're running out of time. Every minute Rebecca spends in that cabin brings her closer to death. Dr. Wells makes another attempt. Michael, I'm going to speak directly to you. Rebecca's father is here. He's worried about his daughter and grandchild. Will you talk to him? A long pause, then Torrino's voice, different now. Colder, more calculating. Put Harrison on the radio. Agent Rodriguez hands me the microphone with a warning look. Keep him talking. Don't make any promises we can't keep. My hands shake as I key the radio. Michael, it's Harrison. Is Rebecca okay? Dad! Rebecca's voice weak, but unmistakably hers. Dad, help me. The baby's coming and he's not who we thought he was. My heart nearly stops. She knows. Somehow Rebecca has discovered Torrino's true identity. Torrino's voice cuts through her cries. Shut up, Harrison. Your daughter has been reading things she shouldn't read. Now she's upset, and it's affecting the baby. What things, Michael? Things that don't concern you? But, Dad, I need you to understand something. Family protects family. Sometimes that means making hard choices. Ray grabs my arm, whispering urgently, He's telling you he's going to kill her. Keep him talking. Michael, whatever Rebecca found, we can work through it as a family. Just let the paramedics help with the baby. There is no family anymore. Torrino's voice explodes from the cabin speakers. She found my real driver's licenses. She knows about Jennifer, about Amanda, about all of them. She knows everything. The admission sends shockwaves through the command center. Agent Rodriguez speaks into her radio. All unit suspect has just confessed to multiple homicides. Consider extremely dangerous. Rebecca's voice stronger now despite her pain. Dad, his name is Michael Torrino. He killed his other wives. He was going to kill me and the baby for your money. I said, shut up, Torrino screams. Dr. Wells takes the microphone back. Michael, we know about your previous marriages. We know about the insurance money, the identity theft, all of it. But right now, Rebecca needs medical help. Let us send in a paramedic. No, no one comes in here. If anyone approaches this cabin, I'll kill her and the baby. Right now. Commander Morrison's voice cuts through the radio chatter. Negotiation breakdown. Subject has made direct threats against hostages. Recommend immediate tactical intervention. Agent Rodriguez looks at me with grim determination. Mr. Caldwell, we're going to get your daughter out of there. But I need you to understand. This situation has become extremely volatile. Through the binoculars, I watch the cabin's single lit window, knowing that inside my daughter's fighting for her life and the life of my grandchild, against a monster who has already proven he'll kill anyone who threatens his plans. The negotiation phase is over. Now it's time for the FBI's tactical team to do what they do best, save innocent lives and stop killers. I push open the cabin door against FBI orders stepping into hell itself. The smell hits me first, fear, sweat, and something metallic that might be blood. Rebecca lies on a filthy mattress in the corner, her wrists zip-tied to a rusted bed frame, her face contorted with labor pains. Standing over her like some demonic guardian is the man I once called son, holding a hunting knife in one hand and what looks like a detonator in the other. Hello, Dad, Michael Torrino says with that same charming smile that fooled me for 3 years. I was wondering when you'd show up to play hero. Rebecca's eyes find mine across the dim room. Dad, don't. He has explosives. Under the cabin. Shut up. Torrino kicks the mattress, making Rebecca cry out. Dad and I need to have a little chat about family loyalty. I force myself to remain calm, knowing that FBI snipers are positioning themselves outside waiting for a clear shot. Michael, let her go? This is between you and me. Michael. He laughs, a sound devoid of any human warmth. Dad, you still don't get it? Do you? There is no Michael. There never was. Michael Anthony Torrino died 15 years ago in a prison fight. I just borrowed his name, like I borrowed Marcus Sterling's identity, like I borrowed everything I needed to become the perfect son-in-law. Then who are you? I'm whoever I need to be to get what I want. Jennifer O'Sullivan thought I was David Chen, loving husband, an investment advisor. Amanda Whitmore knew me as Robert Martinez, devoted family man. Sarah Chen, yeah, that's right, Dr. Chen's daughter, she married Thomas Anderson, successful businessman. Each name hits me like a physical blow. You killed them all. I liberated them from lives they weren't appreciating. Jennifer was wasting her father's money on charity work. Amanda spent her inheritance on art classes. Sarah wanted to give away the family restaurant to help homeless people. His voice drips with contempt. They had everything, and they were throwing it away on other people. Rebecca screams as another contraction hits. The baby is coming, whether we're ready or not. Your daughter was supposed to be different. Torrino continues pressing the detonator button, but not triggering it, yet. Rich father, successful business, no siblings to split the inheritance. Perfect setup. But then she got pregnant, and pregnancy makes women sentimental, protective. Started asking questions about my past, wanting to meet my family. So you decided to kill her. I decided to complete the transaction. 3 years of investment, Dad. 3 years of pretending to love your spoiled daughter. 3 years of listening to her talk about baby names and nursery colors. Do you know how exhausting it is to fake caring about someone? The casual cruelty in his voice makes me want to tear him apart with my bare hands. But Rebecca needs me to stay smart, stay focused. The other wives, how did you know it? Torrino's eyes light up with the pride of a craftsman discussing his work. Anxiety medication gradually increased doses. Make them dependent, then make them crazy. Isolation from family and friends. They don't understand our love, baby. Financial control? Let me handle the money, sweetheart. Then when they're completely broken, one final overdose, and a suicide note about how they can't handle life anymore. But Ray's daughter fought back. Jennifer was tougher than expected. Had to get creative. Made it look like she jumped from her apartment balcony in a drug-induced psychotic episode. The others were easier. Pills in a bathtub, pills in a garage with the car running. Amazing how many ways anxiety medication could kill someone. Rebecca's labor pains are coming faster now. I can see my grandchild trying to be born in this nightmare. Michael, the baby is coming. Let me get her to a hospital. There is no baby, he says coldly. There's just a loose end that needs to be tied up. See, Dad, I've got this all figured out. Tragic murder scene. Grieving father can't handle his daughter's death and dies with the same explosive device that killed her. Very poetic. You're insane. I'm practical. Your will leaves everything to Rebecca. Rebecca's will, which I helped her write, leaves everything to her loving husband in case of her death. Your company, your house, your investments, all of it becomes mine. Clean, legal, profitable. I realize he's been planning this conversation, savoring this moment when he can finally drop the mask and show me who he really is. But first I want you to understand something, Dad. Your daughter never loved you the way she loved me. She told me things about you, how controlling you were, how you never approved of her choices, how she couldn't wait to get away from your expectations. That's not true. Isn't it? She married me to get away from you, old man. I was her escape route from Daddy's disappointment. Rebecca's voice weak but clear. Dad, don't listen. To him, I love you. Torrino raises the knife. Time to end this family reunion. I step forward, positioning myself between him and Rebecca. You made one mistake, Michael. What's that? You threatened my family. As he lunges with the knife, I throw myself sideways, shielding Rebecca with my own body. Through the cabin window, I catch a glimpse of red laser light painting Torrino's forehead. Close your eyes, sweetheart, I whisper to my daughter. Daddy's got you. The FBI sniper's single shot ends Michael Anthony Torrino's killing spree forever. One moment he's lunging at us with a knife, the next, he's collapsing to the cabin floor, the detonator rolling harmlessly away from his lifeless fingers. The explosive device under the cabin is safely disarmed by the bomb squad within minutes, but my focus is entirely on my daughter. Rebecca, sweetheart, it's over, I whisper, cutting her restraints with Torrino's own knife, while FBI medics rush into the cabin. You're safe now. The emergency C-section happens right there on the cabin floor, performed by Dr. Martinez, with the skill of someone who's delivered babies in war zones. When I hear my granddaughter's first cry piercing the New Hampshire wilderness, I know that evil has not won today. Congratulations, Grandpa, Dr. Martinez says, placing a perfect, healthy baby girl in my arms. She's beautiful. Rebecca, weak but alert, smiles through her tears. Dad, I want to name her Catherine after Mom. 3 hours later at Mass General Hospital, I sit beside Rebecca's bed, holding baby Catherine while federal prosecutors explain the legal resolution. Agent Rodriguez delivers the news with professional satisfaction. Michael Anthony Torrino has been charged with federal crimes, including identity theft, wire fraud, attempted murder, and terrorism for the explosive device. We're also reopening the murder cases of Jennifer O'Sullivan, Amanda Whitmore, and Sarah Chen, with new evidence from his confession. Ray O'Sullivan finally getting justice for his daughter adds, "The federal prosecutor expects life sentence without parole. He'll never hurt another family." Over the following weeks, the full scope of Torrino's crimes emerges. Financial forensics recovered $2.3 million stolen from Caldwell Construction, plus assets from his other victims. The prescription fraud network he used leads to 12 additional arrests. Most importantly, Rebecca makes a complete recovery, and baby Catherine thrives. But the real healing begins 6 months later. Standing at the podium of the Catherine Caldwell Foundation groundbreaking ceremony, I look out at a crowd of domestic abuse survivors, law enforcement officers, medical professionals, and community leaders who've gathered to support our mission. My wife, Catherine, always believed that our greatest strength comes not from what we build for ourselves, but from what we build for others. I begin my voice steady despite the emotion. 6 months ago, a predator tried to destroy our family for money. Instead, his evil has become the foundation for protecting other families. Rebecca, holding baby Catherine, speaks to the crowd about her experience. Her courage in sharing her story helps other victims recognize the warning signs of domestic abuse and prescription fraud. Detective Ray O'Sullivan, now FBI liaison for family violence cases, describes the new protocols hospitals are implementing to identify medication abuse patterns. The Catherine Caldwell Foundation will provide 3 essential services. I continue. First, education programs to help families recognize predators who use charm and manipulation as weapons. Second, support services for domestic abuse victims, including legal aid and medical assistance. Third, training for law enforcement and medical professionals to identify these complex criminal patterns. Dr. Sarah Chen from Mass General, whose unknown daughter was one of Torrino's victims, explains the new medical protocols. We now screen for medication abuse more aggressively, especially in cases involving pregnancy or family isolation. Sarah's death led to these changes that will save other women. As the ceremony concludes, I hold Catherine while Rebecca cuts the ribbon on our new Family Crisis Center. This building, funded by recovered assets from Torrino's crimes, will serve families throughout New England. Later that evening, sitting in my living room where this nightmare began, I reflect on the lessons learned. Rebecca and baby Catherine are asleep upstairs, safe and protected. Ray O'Sullivan calls regularly to check on us, having found peace through justice for his daughter. Agent Rodriguez has become a family friend, often stopping by to visit her honorary granddaughter. Caldwell Construction is stronger than ever, with employees who stood by us during the crisis and clients who respect our integrity. But more importantly, we've learned that family isn't just about blood relationships. It's about people who show up when you need them most. Ray showed up when we needed a professional investigator. Agent Rodriguez showed up when we needed federal resources. Dr. Chen showed up when we needed medical expertise. The community showed up when we needed support for healing. Michael Torrino thought he was targeting an isolated, vulnerable family. Instead, he discovered that we're part of something much larger, a community that protects its own and fights back against predators who threaten innocent people. As I watch baby Catherine sleep peacefully in her crib, I make her a promise. You'll grow up knowing you're loved and protected, not just by family, but by a community that believes in justice, compassion, and the courage to do what's right. The strongest foundation isn't built with concrete and steel. It's built with love, truth, and the determination to protect what matters most. Not just our own families, but all families who deserve safety, dignity, and hope for the future. Evil may disguise itself as charm and success, but it cannot withstand the combined strength of people who refuse to let predators win. That's the legacy Catherine will inherit. Not just wealth, but the knowledge that good people will always fight to protect the innocent. And that's a foundation that will last forever. Sometimes God places guardian angels in our path when we need them most. Detective Ray O'Sullivan appeared in our lives exactly when Rebecca needed saving, proving that the Lord works through people who choose courage over convenience. This story teaches us that evil often wears the most charming masks. Predators like Michael Torrino study our weaknesses and exploit our trust. But it also shows us that when we stand together as a community, no villain can destroy the bonds that truly matter. Betrayal stories like this remind us to trust our instincts when something feels wrong. Harrison's initial unease about Marcus was God's way of preparing him for the truth. The most devastating betrayal stories often come from those closest to us, but they also reveal who our real family truly is. Grandpa stories like Harrison's show us that protecting our children and grandchildren requires both wisdom and action. The greatest grandpa stories aren't about spoiling grandkids with gifts. They're about men who risk everything to keep their families safe. Harrison's grandpa stories will inspire little Catherine for generations, teaching her that love means fighting for what's right. God bless this family with survival justice and the chance to help others through their foundation. Even in our darkest moments, the Lord provides strength to overcome evil and transform pain into purpose. Betrayal stories may break our hearts, but they can't break our spirit when we trust in divine protection. If this story moved you, please hit that subscribe button and share it with someone who needs to hear about triumph over evil. What's the most important lesson you learned from Harrison's journey? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your wisdom might be exactly what another viewer needs to hear today.